Tom still in here? So while I'm getting set up here, I have a question for you. I actually just graduated this weekend with an urban planning master's degree, so
congratulations.
thank you. After 6 long years, I'm glad to be done. So, but I took a couple of GIS classes, and there really wasn't a lot of emphasis on like web GIS or publishing things to the web, or really any mention of like ArcGIS Online or any of that technology at all. I was just kind of wondering if you guys are doing any of that stuff.
Yeah, actually with ArcGIS Online, our students in our Intro to Geography course are utilizing that. And hopefully in one of the new courses I've just developed, students they won't be creating their web maps, but they'll be using some of the templates that are in there to build upon that.
Nice, okay. Yeah, I just thought it was kind of surprising because urban planning is all about connecting with citizens, and they're still teaching their students to like print out big maps to like take to town meetings and stuff. I'm like, it's 2016, guys. We can put some stuff on the internet now, so. Okay, so I'm Seth Tribbey. I work for Latitude Geographics, here to introduce you guys, or hopefully get you some updates on GeoCortex technology. Plan for the presentation is to give you a quick overview of our solution suite, talk really quite a bit about GeoCortex Essentials, our flagship product, give you some example customer applications in the energy industry, and talk about some of the new things that we're doing with building some visualization tools and some energy-specific configurable workflows. Before I jump in, just kind of wondering, who before today has heard of GeoCortex before the Williams presentation? Okay, so a pretty good portion. Who of you are actually customers? Okay. Also wanted to ask, so I know this is kind of a comprehensive group of folks. Who here is an upstream? Would you call yourself like an E&P upstream oil and gas company? Pipeline, midstream, any of that stuff? How about utilities? Not many utility companies. Coal? A few folks in coal as well. Okay, just kind of wondering who my audience is. Latitude Geographics, so who we are, we're based in Victoria, British Columbia, so it's a Canadian company. I am not Canadian, so whoever was making the joke about having to get used to A's all the time, I feel your pain there. If you want any pointers, I can give them to you. My wife's like, you're not Canadian, why do you say A all the time? I'm like, I'm on the phone with them all day, so. But GeoCortex, we're the makers of GeoCortex. I would kind of describe it as the premier web GIS deployment framework for the energy industry. I feel pretty confident in saying that. We've got about 100 oil and gas customers globally, about 1,500 total customers. So oil and gas is kind of one piece of what we do, but we also do state and local government, county government, utilities, water, et cetera, et cetera. So primarily we make GIS software, right? We build GIS solutions, but we also do auxiliary professional services, support, training, et cetera. So not only do we build the products, but we help our customers implement them, customize them, train them how to use them, et cetera, et cetera. We're about a 120-person company, very technical in nature. I'd say probably 90 or 100 of those people are developers, professional services people, very, very technically focused company. We're an Esri Platinum partner, so we stay very close to the direction that they are going in and hopefully stay just a little bit ahead of it, right? So always a challenge with technology, but stay very close to the direction that they're going in. I also wanted to mention that we also do a lot of OEM stuff. The reason I wanted to ask if anybody was in utilities is that we actually just recently did a partnership with Schneider Electric. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of ArcFM before, but we are now going to be the web front end of ArcFM. So they have like a Silverlight product that they didn't want to rebuild. And they're actually using GeoCortex to be the new front end of ArcFM Web. And we're actually doing quite a bit of that type of thing where customers are leveraging GeoCortex technology on top of the products that they already have. So this is just a quick look at our kind of entire solution suite. I kind of like to refer to this as the layer cake slide. So really the core technology, that would be like the eggs and flour and butter and stuff that you like never actually see because customers don't ever actually get to look at that, right? We just kind of maintain that internally to build our products on top of. The next layer up is our actual products that we build. GeoCortex Analytics, you guys might have already heard of originally as GeoCortex Insight. So we've actually renamed that because Esri just released Insights for ArcGIS. So being a good partner, we changed the name of that product so we could avoid confusion there. But really, GeoCortex Essentials is our flagship product. So Insight or Analytics now is all about system monitoring. How is my infrastructure behaving? How many users do I have? What are the peak usage times? What services are in what applications? Is there a particular service that's drawing down performance or breaking my apps? Send me a text message if that happens, etc. GeoCortex Essentials, which is really most of what I'm here to talk about today, is our flagship product for deploying web-based GIS applications. On top of that, there are two frameworks, or interfaces for deploying those applications. There's our viewer for HTML5, so you go in, say, these are the tools I want, these are the layers I want in here, here's all the related data, and then you publish that using our GeoCortex viewer for HTML5 interface. We also have another interface, which is our GeoCortex mobile application framework. Basically, that takes these viewers and makes them available in a disconnected offline mode on mobile devices, and that's the technology that Williams used to build their disconnected mobile application that they were talking about earlier. Basically, you just install a native application on an iOS or Android or a Windows device, and then you can consume that browser-based application within it. And then you can take all your data offline, access the device's storage, the GPS, really get at more of what you need to go to disconnected, and that's what the mobile application framework does. On top of the viewer for HTML5, we have some EnerGIS-specific solutions that I thought were worth mentioning. There's GeoCortex Active Operating Picture. That is our real-time emergency response application. So requires Geo Event Processor, requires ArcGIS Online or Portal, and the whole point of that application is to give you all of the information in real time that you need to respond to an emergency really quickly and easily available. We also have GeoCortex Decision Support, which is built on top of Essentials. And the idea behind that is that's actually kind of a project management and communication and collaboration tool. The idea is that when you guys are planning pad sites or pad roads or pipeline, all this oil and gas infrastructure, there might be 7 different people in that department that play a role in where that infrastructure is going to go. So this is kind of one place that's kind of GIS-centric where everybody can go to communicate and collaborate, and you put these really powerful GIS-based analysis tools in the hands of these laymen so they can leverage a spill analysis or an upslope watershed, or show me, maybe I want to set up rules so that I can't place a pad site within 300 feet of a stream or 5,000 feet of a school, et cetera, et cetera. So a pretty cool application there. GeoCortex Perspective is the application I showed last year. Basically, it's a 3D wellbore subsurface visualization tool, so not intended to compete with Petrel or Geographics or Decision Space Desktop. Really, the idea behind that is the entire company needs to see wells in the subsurface in 3D, so you can really quickly and easily visualize your subsurface wellbore path, things like fracking stages, microseismic data, seismic data, geologic slices, et cetera, but a very kind of simple visualization tool. We also have a CityWorks extension. I don't think anybody here is implementing CityWorks. Probably not. Okay, gonna skip that then. So, but that's basically our whole product suite, how everything fits together. So I want to talk a little bit about Essentials here for a minute, and I think that most people are at least relatively familiar with the technology. Basically, it's a framework for deploying applications. So rather than kind of belaboring what it is and what it does, I really want to focus more on our workflow technology today, because I believe that that is where we provide the most value. So what's really amazing about the workflow technology is, another question, how many of you would consider yourself like a geospatial professional? You do GIS or CAD, or you're very much focused on GIS? Okay, so most of the people in the room. What about like other disciplines like engineers or geologists or operations people or anything like that? Okay, so a few more. Really, the reason I ask is that we're all GIS people. We all understand what buffers are and what spatial analysis is and all of these really heavy GIS tools. Most of the other people in your organization don't know what those tools are. They don't know how to use them. They don't want to learn how to use them. They just want GIS to do what they want it to do. They want it to deliver the answer that they're looking for. And that's what our workflow technology enables you to do, right? So basically, it enables you to build really simple, guided user interactions that are very powerful, but that are also very easy to use for the end user. So an example I like to use a lot of the time is a land workflow. So let's say you have a landman at your organization, and all he wants to do is run a lease expiration report. Now, in a normal app environment or GIS environment, he might have to go in and use one GIS tool to draw his AOI for where maybe he wants his unit to go. And then he might have to use another widget to create a buffer off of that AOI. And then another widget to do a selection of leases based on that buffer. And then another widget to filter those leases based on expiration date. And then another widget to export them, and then another application altogether to generate a report out of that or whatever. Whereas with the GeoCortex workflow technology, he can go in and say, I want to run a lease expiration report for this AOI, go. And all of those different processes that are required to deliver that landman that piece of information that he's interested in get automated and just deliver to him a lease expiration report for that AOI. So that's really where we provide a lot of the value. And we've done this all over the energy space, whether it's exploration, production, pipeline, et cetera, et cetera. So what we've done is we've actually taken Windows Workflow Framework and we've spatialized it. So we've gone and added all these really heavy, spatially focused features and functions that you can go in and use off-the-shelf technology to automate these processes. So basically, you can take our entire library of activities, string them together, and automate how these decisions are made. By the way, as GIS people, we can actually consume geoprocessing services. So if you guys have built a model with Model Builder, you can publish that out with our GIS server. We can consume all the slicing and dicing of that data that's got to happen in the background, as well as the manipulation of the GUI for the application that the end user is using at the same time. So it's really, really powerful workflow engine. So basically what ends up happening when you build these workflows is that you build a visual description of your business process. So as GIS people or GeoCortex administrators or developers, you can sit down with your business units. You can sit down with an engineer, with a landman, with a geologist, et cetera, an operations manager, a field worker, and say, what is it that you do every day? And what is it that you want GIS to do? If you could have GIS do what you want it to do, tell me what that is and describe it to me and how it would impact your workflow and where it would impact your workflow. Map that out in the workflow designer, and then as a developer or GIS administrator, go in and kind of fill in the technical details or the development or whatever that needs the technical databases or technical strings to the databases, et cetera, to automate that process. So it's a really cool way for GIS people to impact the business while also making it very easy for the end user to use. Everybody still with me? It's after lunch, I'm going to put you guys to bed. So that's kind of the workflow technology, but it's also important to mention that we have plenty of other features and functions and things like that that are really pushing the technology forward and make these applications usable for professional GIS people as well. So the idea is that we can take data from all over the organization and automate how the organization uses it. So we have really good support for related data, off-the-shelf function for related data, so that you can take data from your land system, from your well system, from everywhere, and automate how the organization uses that data. Same thing in pipeline. The last example was an upstream example, and I'm going to get moving here because I'm running out of time. I want to talk really quickly about a customer example. So upstream oil and gas, especially in these unconventional plays, it's kind of like factories, right? Like you're going in, you're drilling lots of wells, you're doing it in the same way every time. You're trying to get the best producing wells for the lowest cost, right? And we had this customer come to us and say, we really want to try to automate our drill plan. It's timely, it's confusing, it's really tough. So what this workflow does is it pulls data from the Colorado Oil and Gas Commission, concatenates that data with some internal databases that they have, and then builds some costing rules on top of it to help them determine how they want to complete wells for particular drilling areas. Before they implemented the workflow technology, it was taking like 6 people, 3 or 4 weeks to go out and build these drill plans. They had to go out and gather the data, track it in this big gnarly master spreadsheet that somebody would save over, and they'd all get pissed off at each other about because then somebody would break it or something like that. And it was just a big, slow, gnarly process that wasn't very well managed. After they implemented the workflow technology, now it takes one person 3 or 4 minutes to basically automate their entire drill plan for a 9-section area. They said that they've seen better producing wells because they're more consistent in the decisions that they make around how they complete them. And they're saying that they save anywhere from 50 to 100K per drill plan based on how many wells that they're drilling in that area. So that's the type of thing that you can do by automating and standardizing how your organization makes decisions with spatial data, right? We're doing this all over the place. We have pipeline customers, seismic data management, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, shifting gears real quick here. One of the things that's kind of new that I wanted to share with you is, and I might have to skip the demo, but basically we're taking this workflow technology that we have and we are now building configurable industry-specific workflows. So we hired a guy named Sam Atchison from New Century about 3 or 4 months ago. I don't know if you guys are familiar with New Century or Sam or not, but we're really excited to have him here because he is kind of serving as our subject matter expert in the pipeline industry. And we've worked with him to build some workflows that solve common industry problems with geospatial information that are out there so that you guys can bring your own data to these workflows, configure them, and start automating how you make decisions. So the first couple that we've built are an ILI and dig report workflow that I was hoping to demo, but I think I'm going to run out of time. Okay, as well as a pipeline navigator and stationing tool where you can basically go out and say, okay, here's an intersection, and it automatically converts other location information to stationing. So that way you're communicating with the field as well as the location folks in the office and GIS people, et cetera. So those are the first couple that we've built. We've done them in about the last month or so, but you can expect a lot more in pipeline as well as a lot coming in upstream pretty soon, whether it's land management workflows, geospatial, geoscience data management, analysis, et cetera, et cetera. I was hoping to give you guys a look at those two first workflows and visualization tools that we've built, but I think I'm out of time, so feel free to come up to me. I'll be here the next couple of days. I'd be happy to give you a look at